You might wonder, where are the strong conservatives in Washington that are trying to put a stop to this blatant abuse of power? Well, Congressman Jim Jordan, he has been zeroed in on the Biden administration's authoritarian tactics since Joe was sworn into office, and he joins me now. Congressman Jordan, welcome to the program.
Jane, good to be with you, and a great opening. Our prayers are with the folks in Florida, but just you're so right about how political this Justice Department has become.
Yeah, and the father that I just mentioned, Mark Houck, he's the latest victim of Biden's weaponized DOJ. And the Federalist further explained what Houck is up against. They stated, quote, pro-abortion campaigners sought changes at the local level and sought charges at the local level and failed. Yep. They tried to sue Houck in civil court, but failed there as well. So finally last week, they got a few dozen armed federal agents to raid Houck's home and then charged him with a federal crime of interfering with a provider of reproductive health care. He faces up to 11 years in prison if convicted. 11 years in prison, Congressman. Yep. I mean, Hunter Biden has done more damage to this country than this father of 7 that honestly nobody heard of until this week. So what do you make of this latest example of weaponization by the FBI, and who's next? Where does it stop?
Well, that's the big question. Who is next? This is how dangerous this is. But as part of this pattern, I mean, we've had now over 14 whistleblowers come to our office. It started with the school boards issue a year ago. Then it was all this political pressure they're under, to label all cases as domestic violence extremism cases. And now it goes to this. So this is all there to satisfy this narrative of Joe Biden's, where he said half the country is fascist, half the country is extremist, and they're so focused on it. One of the whistleblowers told us a few weeks ago that they're pulling agents off of child trafficking cases to focus on domestic violent extremism cases. The juice in the numbers, cooking the books. And now it looks like the facts are pretty clear here. This dad was defending his son. And now he may go to prison for doing what any good father would do. When my understanding of the facts is this person was yelling at his son, swearing at his son, and he stepped in like any father would do to protect his child. And now he may face, he faces time in prison, which is just scary.
Yeah, every American should be concerned. They should be outraged, and they should be prepared to vote in November. The midterms will be here before we know it. And on that note, let's pivot to a remarkable moment we saw at the White House today. There was a food insecurity conference that was happening. Joe Biden, this is uncomfortable to even say, I can't believe he did this, but he asked the crowd if deceased Congresswoman Jackie Walorski was present in the room. It's tough to watch this, but folks really need to see this. Watch.
And I want to thank all of you here, for including bipartisan elected officials like Representative Governor, Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
No.
Where's Jackie? I mean, it's not even funny anymore. I mean, how does this country withstand 2 more years of this? I mean, what's the breaking point, Congressman?
No, it's sad. And when you're commander-in-chief of the greatest country in history, you have to project strength from the Oval Office. It's just critical in foreign policy. It's just critical to be able to lead. And unfortunately, we all know that this president doesn't do that, doesn't have that capability. And it's sad to see, because he's president of the United States of America, the greatest country in all of history. It's sad. And what a contrast between this and the leadership we had under President Trump. What a contrast between Joe Biden and the leadership we get from Governor DeSantis. I mean, Governor DeSantis is getting ready for this massive hurricane coming in and hitting their state, and already raising money, has National Guard on standby. And Joe Biden's doing what? He's out raising money for Democrats who put our country in this terrible economic situation, terrible crime situation. That's the difference in leadership between President Trump, Governor DeSantis, and unfortunately the current president of our country.
And what's really so bothersome, Congressman, is just the lack of accountability here. I mean, you saw White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre being asked about that earlier today. What was going on? Biden was asking, where's Jackie? Half of the briefing room was losing their minds and wanting an answer. Let's replay that, and I'll get your reaction.
I just wanted to return to this question of the Congresswoman, and I think we all totally get why she's top of mind. You've made that case pretty effectively. But I think the confusing part is why, if she and the family is top of mind, does the president think that she's living and in the room?
I don't find that confusing. He's going to see her family in just 2 days. and she was on top of mind. I mean, that is, that is not an unusual scenario there.
Maureen, I have John Lennon top of mind just about every day, but I'm not looking around for him anywhere.
When you sign a bill for John Lennon as president, then we can have this conversation.
You know, I kind of indicated this a moment ago, but it seems like the closer we get to the midterms, the more these lies start to ramp up, especially from that podium when people ask, what's the situation at the border? Everything's fine. The border is closed. What's the situation with Biden?
Yeah.
Jackie Walorski was top of mind. Your thoughts, Congressman?
Yeah, these are the same people that told us the border is secure. These are the same people who told us that inflation was temporary. These are the same people who told us if you spend a boatload more money, it'll help inflation. These are the same people who told us they got an energy plan, and that energy plan is to drive gas to $5 a gallon a few months ago. So, I mean, how many times do they tell us things that are just aren't accurate, just aren't true? And yet they turn around and they constantly attack President Trump, who had our country just humming along, our economy humming along, a secure border. I mean, President Trump has a great line, and you referenced this, Jen, in your opening statement. I thought was so good. President Trump, when he's out doing these rallies, and I was with him just a few weeks ago in Youngstown, Ohio, he says, they come after me because I'm fighting for you. He's standing up for us, standing up for the principles and values that make our country special. And I tell you who else is getting that kind of support. The new prime minister in Italy, if you watch that statement where she talked about standing up for a national identity, standing up for a Christian identity, standing up for the family, the institution of the family, standing up for fundamental principles, people respect that. But when you do it, oh, my goodness, the left comes after you. And that's what we're seeing with President Trump. It's what we're seeing with Governor DeSantis. It's what we're seeing with the new prime minister in Italy.
Yeah, it seems to be not just a national movement now, but a global movement that's emerging as a result of Trump's leadership. Congressman Jim Jordan, love having you here. We got to have you here more often. Thank you, sir.
You bet. Thank you.